Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Modern Sales Pros event. I'm super excited to get started on today's topic, AI powered sales, key strategies for a winning team. But before we begin, give folks a couple more minutes to trickle in, and I'd love to ask our esteemed panelists today a fun little icebreaker question. Now that it's fall in North America, I know there's some really cool TV shows and football and sports on, and I'd love to ask, what are you currently watching? We can start things off with John.
Hey everyone, I'm John, customer success manager at Otter. Got TV shows right now. Actually, it's kind of a child to me. Rick and Morty. It's a cartoon on Adult Swim that's back. I've been watching a little bit of that, even though I'm maybe a little old for it. And I'm also a big football fan. Even though my team, the New England Patriots, are absolutely terrible, I still enjoy watching those quite a bit. So yeah, definitely some great TV on right now.
Awesome. And if you are a Pats fan, definitely let us know in the chat, or any NFL fan.
Don't hate me
Justin, what
for it.
about you? Oh, Justin, what about you? What are you currently watching?
So I live in the DFW area, and like most of us, I'm a big Texas Rangers fan. So we got to see the World Series for the first time in our 62 team year history, which was really cool. And then, like John, I'm a big football fan, but for the Dallas Cowboys. So and then a bonus one, a show called Man in the High Castle. It's like a alternative history type show if you're a history nut out there. So
Very good. I watched that
yeah,
too.
yeah, all sorts of stuff right now, but I love the sports this time of the year.
Amazing. Thanks for the recommendation. And let's end it off with Kurt. What are you currently watching?
Yeah, so I'm a huge motorsports fan. In particular, I love Formula One racing, and I just missed the Brazilian Grand Prix, so I DVR'd that and watched that this past weekend. And then upcoming this week is the first ever Las Vegas U.S. Grand Prix. So I'm looking forward to all those folks joining us here in the States for their near their final race of the season. So.
Amazing. I went to Grand Prix in Montreal a couple years ago, and it's such an amazing time. So amazing. Thanks for sharing. So let's get started. But before we begin, I'll say a few words about the team at Modern Sales Pros. Hello, everyone. My name is Angelica, and I'm one of the community event managers at MSP. And for those of you who are not familiar, Modern Sales Pros is the world's largest and highest quality community for those in sales management, sales leadership, sales and revenue operations, and enablement, aka our Modern Sales Pros. Our mission is to create an environment for our members to answer questions they struggle to solve on their own and help them see around corners they may not know about. We do this through live sessions like the one you're at today. We also have an online robust forum, and we also have our quarterly summits and in-person events. So if you're not already part of MSP, you'll be invited to join right after this event. And some housekeeping rules for this event. This event is being recorded, so if you have a friend or colleague who couldn't make it, rest assured they'll receive the key takeaways, recording, along with any links mentioned or ebooks made available on the previous event page before the end of the day. Second, if you have a question for John, Kurt, or Justin, please use the Q&A tab at the corner or leverage the chat and also let us know where you're calling in from. Lastly, I am super pleased to announce our sponsor for today's event, Otter. Otter AI is the leading AI meeting assistant, writing notes, capturing action items, and generating summaries for all your calls. Otter AI helps sales teams close more deals by automatically extracting sales insights, writing follow-up emails, and pushing call notes to Salesforce. It helps sales leaders coach their team at scale without having to join the call, while also providing unbiased visibility into their pipeline. I'm going to drop their link in the chat. Definitely check them out. They're doing awesome things. Now, I'm pleased to announce our speakers for today's webinar. I'm actually going to pass it off to Kurt to start things off with introductions, and I'll come back for closing remarks. Kurt, take it away.
Thanks, Angelica. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Hopefully, we'll have a good discussion here. We're going to have a little chat between Justin and I, and then we'll jump into a live demo and end off with some Q&A. Before that, just a little introduction. My name is Kurt Appen. I'm the CMO here at Otter.ai. I've been here for about 3 years. We just recently, as Angelica mentioned, launched a new product we call Otter Pilot for Sales, which is specifically geared toward sales leaders and sales reps. And we're excited to talk more with Justin Lackey, who's the Chief Financial and Revenue Officer at Asset Panda. Asset Panda was one of our early beta customers for Otter Pilot for Sales. And so Justin and his team have been using the product for quite a period of time. They've got some power tool tips that they've been sharing with us and providing feedback as we've been evolving and developing the product. Justin, would you like to maybe provide a little bit of background about yourself? And then also, if I could ask you to tell us a little bit about Asset Panda, what you guys do, what business you're in.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So, like Kurt mentioned, I'm Justin Lackey. I'm the Chief Financial and Revenue Officer. I sit in the DFW area, if anyone on the call is from Texas. Exciting milestone, Kurt. We just surpassed 1,000 transcribed calls in Otter as of today. So we've been really busy with the tool. We love it. But to tell you a little bit about our platform, we're a SaaS organization with an asset management and workflow platform. It's low code, no code, highly customizable. And we track everything. Sorry, I think my screen glitched from chickens to bags of dirt to heavy machinery, right? And kind of just whatever an organization thinks is worth tracking, right? And providing that consistency and transparency too. So we work with a lot of different industries. We're industry agnostic, asset agnostic. And so our sales process can look wildly different, dependent on who we're working with. And we've been able to leverage AI to help make our folks more efficient. So excited to chat with you guys today, and was happy that the Otter folks asked me to join. So
maybe you could share with us a little bit about what your sales cycle looks like. You mentioned that you have a wide variety of customers and industries that you're calling on. Like, is there a typical window in which a customer goes from prospect to opportunity won or closed?
So I wish there was an easy, definitive answer. So we've worked everything. Like if some of you are in SaaS and have an inbound sales motion at your organization, we occasionally see the same day close, right? Which is I don't think that happens in a ton of industries, but we've worked everything from that to kind of that long outbound process that can take up to 18 months for a deal. We find that our sweet spot's really in that kind of 30 to 60 day range with our folks. And so given that we move at a fairly rapid pace, it's a highly competitive space as well. We're always looking for, how can we create a more custom tailored sales approach for those folks? And given the amount of volume that our folks are working on a daily basis, it's really important that we have tools in place that can make them more efficient and effective. So really wide range, Kurt, everything from same day to the 18-month selling cycle, but I'd say about 70% fit in that 2-month window for us.
Awesome. And then maybe 2 follow-up questions just to provide a little more context. One is, how big is the team and how fast has it grown on the sales side? And then the second would be, if you could talk a little bit more about what your current tech stack was prior to working with Otter, just in terms of like your backend CRM, that type of thing.
Yeah, so we're a Salesforce shop. We use HubSpot as well on the marketing side. So the majority of our traffic today funnels through our website, through an inbound process. So HubSpot really assisting on that marketing side of the house, and then speaking very well with Salesforce as our CRM. Prior to this year, we weren't using anything else from a tech standpoint for our sales folks. I guess SalesLoft as well. We were using SalesLoft, but we went through an experimental phase, probably the past 12 months, 18 months of we tried a couple different tools. And we were never looking at AI as it's a big misconception that it's here to replace jobs. And I understand that there's always the fear of that, but we never took the approach of let's let's try to replace anyone with a tool like this. We wanted to find if we could, better equip our current folks that were here today. So I will say from a scaling standpoint, tools like Otter have actually helped us to make our folks today more productive, more efficient, more effective, right? Whereas they can handle maybe the work of 1.5 people that we're doing that. So I've seen the team in my 3 years here grow from 2 sales folks to 6 sales folks now. So we're about triple size, but we're a busy shop, right? And we keep everyone productive and moving very quickly. So I think I got the 3 parts out of that, Kurt. If I missed anything, feel free to follow up.
That was perfect. Maybe we could kind of switch gears a little bit and talk a little bit about just AI in general in your business. Not necessarily Otter specific, but just overall. Obviously, with ChatGPT coming out nearly a year ago now, in December of last year, it kind of has become all the buzz at cocktail parties and also within boardrooms. And I'm just curious as to kind of how you guys use AI in your existing operations and how you kind of see the opportunity going forward.
Yeah, so it's a talking point at every town hall that we've had probably the past 9 months of there's something new that's getting presented. So we have, there's kind of the internal use for our platform itself of where we're trying to create our own competitive advantage with AI. And I think it's becoming more the norm and expected, as opposed to, hey, this is a differentiator between competitor X and competitor Y. So for our own platform, some of the areas that we're looking at is AI assisted onboarding and configuration. So quicker time to go live based on lookalike customers that we've solved similar use cases for. The second piece that we're really excited about is anomaly detection within assets. So not so much a reactive approach to managing assets, but a proactive approach to managing them. And then from a tool standpoint, it's really, can we create more efficiencies within our organization, right? I don't, we haven't used AI, like I mentioned earlier, to necessarily replace anything, but our folks move at such a quicker pace now because of tools that have become available. Even the example of ChatGPT and using that to help write business cases, right, for our deals. It just makes the world go by so much quicker, in my opinion. And the folks that leverage it well, I find tend to be way more efficient than folks that haven't necessarily adopted much of an AI approach just yet.
Cool. As you think about like what triggered your search that ultimately led you to Otter, take us on that journey. Like what prompted you to even look? Was it a short-term project? Was it over a series of months, quarters? What led you to kind of our doorstep, so to speak, if you will?
So we started with a problem statement of if I'm a salesperson and I have 10 demos today, right? And I've got a 15-minute gap between my demos that I can do, right? I'm having to spend too much time at the end of the day trying to put together everything from an action item standpoint, from a key takeaway standpoint, follow-ups to client standpoint. Our folks were investing way too much time and trying to balance work and personal life and all the fun things that we want to go do outside of work. Because I think the majority of the audience is sales today. Sales is not an 8 to 5, right? It's a get it when you can type of thing. So really the problem statement was, if we're going to have a 15-minute gap, can we condense everything that we want to document from a deal standpoint, an action items and next step standpoint within a 15-minute window, and leave time to go make it to the other meeting and show up as our best selves in our A game. And so we found that we were lacking in notes in our CRM. And we found that we were using a plethora, like a mixture of Word documents and OneNotes and just, stuff that's not necessarily usable. Right. And so we sort of framed the problem around that and said, well, let's go see what's out in the market. Right. And see if we can make our folks happier. Right. Because at the end of the day, that was adoption is, are you happier and do you have more time? And so that led us to you guys. And we've been happy ever since. So.
And are you guys using primarily Zoom as your video conferencing platform with customer calls, or do you use another platform?
We people can probably resonate with us. We're a Zoom shop until people tell us that they prefer a different meeting format, and then we try to accommodate Teams, Cisco WebEx, Chime has become one now. So we try to stick to Zoom. It's our preferred usage of it, but we also go at client discretion at times.
Cool. Tell me about, with regard to kind of the success of Otter, like what was kind of the process from when you decided, okay, yeah, we've kind of kicked the tires. We think that this, ability to kind of have this meeting assistant join our sales calls, automatically record and transcribe them, looks kind of interesting. What happened next? Like, did you try it out personally? Did you kind of roll it out to your sales team? Take us through that process or that journey.
Yeah, so we're still rolling it out, but that's because of excitement in the organization. It's not because we've hit too many hiccups. The first use case was sales, right? Of how do we make our sales team better equipped, more efficient. But then, we started to find additional use cases for it. Like, how many times has your marketing department asked you for specific feedback on a certain feature or specific feedback on a specific request, right? Or the product team as well. So similar to our organization creating that paper trail for someone's assets, we decided to treat a deal as an asset, right? And how do you create a paper trail from cradle to grave of what's happened? And so it's improved cross collaboration between our teams, which has been a big use case for us of, we go from SDR to sales to onboarding to customer success with support sprinkled in there. So there's a lot of moving pieces and a lot of different teams touching those accounts. And, with a highly configurable platform, conversations can vary from customer to customer. So we found it extremely important to have a real detailed kind of summary and record of what's happened within those accounts. So we also use it internally as a bonus for, our own kind of meeting sanity as well.
So if you guys, it sounds like the downstream kind of coordination, from the handoff from the sales rep over to customer success and onboarding and marketing, even for the purposes of generating case studies and things like that, has been a lot smoother. Do you find that those groups, those downstream groups, are like listening to the calls? Are they reading the transcripts? Like, how are they interacting with the product from what you've observed?
So there's a great bit of functionality within the tool that allows you to search for keywords across all of your transcripts that you have today. So let's take depreciation, for example, of, hey, we want to go get a case study around depreciation, or we want to talk to a customer that's using depreciation. That process before was kind of a mess. It was, hey, let me hop on Slack and let me message our sales team. Yeah. Let me see who's talked about depreciation. But, now we've equipped our product team, our marketing team to be able to go search those on their own terms, right? So it even removes that bottleneck, and then they get access to that transcript. But more importantly, not just that one transcript, they can kind of watch the journey of our client as well. Of here's your first interaction transcript, your onboarding transcript, your business review transcript. So it's created more of a, kind of a holistic journey that our customer facing and customer support teams are able to view as well.
And I'm guessing that's been beneficial because the sales rep doesn't have to be bothered. They can just,
Yeah,
once they've conducted the call, they can kind of move on to their next mission, which is to get that next sale.
it is. Salespeople don't like to be bothered, right? And that's you don't want to spend your time sifting, digging through reports, trying to find those key items, right? And we've looked for tools that can equip all of our folks within the organization to go do that. So that's been an awesome, kind of transparency we brought into the sales process. The fun example is when a customer gets into onboarding and says, well, the sales rep told me this. So this is what I need. And, now we have that paper trail, and that's more of a, kind of an anomaly, but just to speak to a little bit of the functionality of the tool.
Yeah, and it can help maybe fill in the blanks and provide context for where the customer is coming from versus what maybe the sales rep had said, which is probably useful for customer success and customer support. As you think about, so one of the really interesting new features that we launched within kind of our core platform at Otter and within Otter Pilot for Sales is this feature we call Otter AI Chat. So it's a generative AI that similar to Chat GPT for your meetings, if you will, where you can go in and ask questions of the actual notes and the call records. And I'm curious, how have you yourself as kind of the CRO, CFO been playing with that? And then how have you seen the sales reps play with that?
So we just did our first 30 days of Otter was, probably similar to a lot of folks' first 30 days on Chat GPT of let's just kind of figure out what this thing can do, right? Let's not put any guidelines, any restrictions around it. Let's just see what the creativity of our folks can generate with it. And so we spent about a 30-day period just asking it everything, right? To try to figure out what it's going to provide for us, how it's going to look, and how we can use it. But now we've actually been able to form templates in terms of questions that we'll ask the chatbot. So one of the templates we use is an implementation notes summary for our onboarding team to use, right? And it's a consistent format. It's a copy and paste template. But what it does is it creates a consistent expectation in terms of what does the handoff from sales to implementation look like, and what data am I collecting up front to walk into that call equipped, right? So instead of manually typing out configuration notes, creating an onboarding ticket, and going through that entire process, we found that Otter Chat is able to generate that for us almost instantaneously, right? And it took some tweaking. It took some, we weren't perfect at it in the beginning. But now it's part of our process for our new folks as well of, hey, here's kind of our template playbook that we use based on what Otter's transcribing for us. And here's the output it's going to give us, right? And here's why that output is valuable to our organization. So it was Wild West at the beginning, but we've taken a more kind of template approach now, if you will.
Kind of converge down into that. That's really interesting. And I think it's a good tip for the audience is the ability to kind of leave it kind of wide open initially and then figure out what's working, maybe where the best practices are, and then kind of hone into, how you can incorporate it into a consistent workflow. I'm curious, are you or your reps, anyone in the organization using Otter Chat to write follow-up emails from the call conversations?
So we're using it to assist with that. I always recommend anyone using an AI tool, put your own twist on it. I would obviously get some eyes on it. Help you get started, right? And so from a drafting standpoint, it's great. A fun piece I would recommend if you get into a trial account with it or any Chat GPT function, tell it to talk to you like a pirate, just to give you like a sense of how powerful it can be. But we use it for drafting, then we kind of put our own twist on it. For our enterprise selling motion, we've actually used it to help build, kind of business case templates and documents as well. So the days of it taking 3 hours to write a business proposal are over. So we've been able to condense that time pretty well, and it writes extraordinary well. I'm not I wasn't an English major, and I don't pride myself on being a fantastic writer, but I've been able to leverage tools like that can really help you out from that front.
Yeah, it gets you over that the initial writer's block, right, where you're staring at the blank screen and saying, like, I got to start something. It gives you a draft that then you can kind of incorporate some of your own personality and edits into. But it gives you a nice summary from the meeting in terms of some of the key topics discussed and addressed. As you've you spoke about this kind of throughout the conversation, but any sort of hard facts around like how it's increased productivity? Like, do you find that sales reps are able to do one more call a day because of the tool? Like, what type of productivity gains have you seen from across your team?
I hope one of the ones that's hard to measure is I would hope that we've improved their quality of life because of it. Like, I would hope that I think they would tell you that they feel like they've gotten a little bit of breathing room back in their day. Especially we're in crunch time, we're in holiday season, we're in Q4, like we're trying to wrap everything up. Any tool that we can help improve their quality of life, I think helps them show up with their A game every single time and every at bat. Hard stats, man. I know within a 15-minute window now, we can create an almost perfect synopsis of what's happened in a meeting, what the action items are, and have that follow-up email out. I think that's pretty powerful, especially if a salesperson was spending, anywhere from 45 to 90 minutes at the end of the day trying to recap everything. I mentioned earlier we just hit 1,000 transcripts. I'm not sure in a previous life how we would go search for key terms within 1,000 transcripts like that. That to me, like, to put the finance hat on and the data hat on for a little bit, like, that's enough benefit for me right there of being able to do that and product feedback. So we're big about timing everything we do here at Asset Panda as kind of a fun thing to see realistically what is an appropriate workload look like for this. And I know fitting Otter into that has made us kind of rethink that model and what's capable within a day.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea that sales reps no longer have to take notes, right? Like the drudgery of like taking notes, they can really just focus on the conversation, be confident that basically the call's being recorded and transcribed, and then can use the AI chatbot to basically distill out those key pieces of information to get them over to you and others in the company, so that they don't have to worry about that, the kind of the drudgery part of that.
I think too, one comment on that, if anyone on the call is maybe frustrated with one of your best reps that doesn't take the greatest notes, and you're always curious of like, how does this guy kill it so well? And I go into Salesforce, and your sales ops team is always yelling at you about like, why is none of this stuff in the CRM? It's a tool for them as well, right? Of like, you just don't take great notes for some odd reason, right? And it's tough to get the details from you. Tools like this, they kind of eliminate that excuse as well. And it's hands off for them as well, right? They can engage in the conversation. You're not typing, looking at another screen. It allows us to communicate how we are today, right? With no kind of extra work that I need to be doing right now.
And I don't know if you've come across this, because you're a relatively recent user, but like, have you used the past transcripts as like best practices for coaching and ramping new reps, in terms of just showcasing, here's how it's done, here's an example of a really good discovery call, that type of thing?
We have, and so one of the things, key metrics we like to look at is talk time within a conversation. Is your prospect engaged, right? And that kind of quick synopsis of saying, okay, if I have a 40% talk time from our sales folks and a 60% talk time from whoever we're engaging with, right? That's an indicator for us as, there's good questions being asked, right? They're interested in the platform. So we have been able to look at close won deals. We've also been able to do close loss reviews with it, right? That are equally as important. So there's all sorts of room for coaching opportunity within the tool itself.
And I guess before we kick it over to John to share with us kind of a demo, and John's demo is heavily inspired by his work with your team at Asset Panda. So we'll highlight some of those. Anything else you want to add is just kind of thinking about incorporating AI tools like Otter or others into the kind of sales workflow, the sales process?
I think, start with that problem statement. I would recommend asking your folks, if you could automate one part of your job, what would that part of your job be? And I think you'll tend to find that it's the most time consuming or monotonous part of their role that's not any less important than some of the other work that they're doing. And I think that's a great starting point, right? If they say, hey, I'm really struggling transcribing everything and getting my notes concise and just staying organized, right? Anyone who goes through pipeline cleanup exercise knows it's a revolving door and it's never a done project. Tools like this can help assist, right? And, keep an ear out for other leaders within your organization. Are you having trouble providing marketing the context that they need to help frame your content roadmap? Are you having trouble providing product the feedback they need to help define your product roadmap? Right? Tools like that, like Otter, the use case, it expands outside of just the sales organization. So I would take care of your folks first, but then also start to look for how you can kind of layer it into your organization as well.
Awesome. Well, hang tight and feel free to jump in if you see things through John's demo that you want to call out. We'll open it up for Q&A, but before we do that, let's kick it over to John for a quick, maybe 5 to 6 minute demo of Otter. I think seeing is believing in many cases.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Justin and Kurt. Let me just go ahead and see if I can share my screen here. All right, has everyone seen my account right here? So as you can see in my account, I do have a demo discovery call in here. And just on a quick side note, I would recommend importing as many of your old calls as you could if you have the audio file. Otter takes tons of different audio files. This will be fantastic for Otter Chat because in a few weeks, we will release a new version of Otter Chat where you'll actually be able to ask questions across multiple transcripts. Now, there's tons of features and functionality I could go over, but obviously, as Kurt said, I have a limited time frame here. So I'm going to have to sort of choose just a few of them to go over. So, one of the hardest things to do in any meeting is to be able to take, efficient notes, writing them down, while also being able to pay attention. Now, Otter has a ton of great instantaneous ways to take your own notes, but the idea is that Otter's AI features and capabilities should be able to give you as much information as you need during a call or after a call so that you can really focus on, providing the best meeting possible. If you're a sales rep, really focusing on asking the right questions and making sure that you're getting the most out of these discovery calls. And so as you can see, this middle area, this is the entire transcript itself. If I want to click on any area of this, it will start playing the audio. And over on the right-hand side here, this column, I'm going to focus mostly on this top box right here called the summary. These are where your AI these are where the AI notes are going to be generated for you. So one really cool one is insights, or sales insights as we call them, which are basically topics. These topics can be generated or will be generated for every single call that you're on. So in this case, this is for a sales workflow. A lot of you might work with Bant or Medpic, where it's you need to know who, the budget, the timeline, the paperwork. You need to know these on every single one of your calls that you're on. So this is information Otter can automatically surface for you. So as you can see, Otter's automatically surfaced all the next steps, the roles, the budget, the competition, the issues and risk, decision making, and pricing. And any one of these can be clicked on, and it will take you right to where in the transcript that Otter started taking these notes. Now, what's really cool about topics is that you can actually add additional topics if you want. So for instance, I actually sort of set this one up. I copied and pasted it here. So let me see if I can read this to you real quick. You might want to know, as a sales rep, you might want to know the buying signs. So any buying indication from prospects, anytime someone mentions purchasing, talking to their supervisor, contract length, any indication they're ready to buy. You can go ahead now and have Otter look for that specific topic, and Otter will pull that information, and you can make this a new topic. You could call it buying signs or something like that.
John, can you just tell us what your prompt was there that you entered in?
I typed in buying signs. So now if I regenerate this insights in a few minutes, I'm not going to do it right now because it does take a few minutes to regenerate. But if I regenerate it, it'll now regenerate these insights with buying signs. And every time, those topics are mentioned, it will automatically get pulled up for you, not only for this call, but all calls in the future as well. So this information will automatically get generated for you. Don't even have to think about it. Our second is the summary right here, which is an AI generated summary of the entire meeting. Basically, it's like your second set of notes. And so, this is fantastic for people who maybe couldn't make calls, or if you just want to compare your notes against the AI's notes. You can copy the summary, you can paste it into an email, you can copy it as link, send it into Slack, anything like that. But all of these are actual, digestible pieces of information that Otter's created for you. These aren't just like verbatim quotes pulled over into the summary. And again, just like with the insights, if you click on any one of these, Otter will take you right to that moment where it discussed it, where it started taking that particular note. Now, kind of the highlight of all of this, Otter's gem here is Otter Chat. So Otter Chat, as Kurt was saying, is a tool that you can ask any question you want to about a particular transcript. And what's really nice about it is it's going to only pull information from this transcript. It's not using ChatGPT. It's not crawling the web for information. It's only pulling you info from this particular transcript. So you can ask anything you want. So as we were saying, I love to use Otter Chat to help write the foundations of follow-up emails for me. So the only thing you have to do is say @Otter, and you can go ahead and say, write a thank you email to everyone who attended. Keep it to 300 words or less. Recap what was discussed. And now Otter will generate a email for you that you can send to everybody. And again, you want to read it and all that, but this is how I send all my emails, not verbatim, but I do use it as the foundation. I can go ahead and copy this and put it into an email if I want. When we were talking with Justin just the other day, he had a fantastic one about, how can I better prepare my onboarding team, basically. He came up with this fantastic question, as he was saying, that he discusses where you can say, compose onboarding notes that I can provide to this customer onboarding specialist. These notes should provide an outline of the customer's use case along with insights that into what configurations the account will need to reflect the customer's needs and requirements. So this is great. So you can ask Otter to pull this information from this, and it gives you a nice clean list right here, and it's very thorough. And you can actually go ahead now and just copy that, and you could send it right to the team, or you could copy the link, post it in Slack, post it in Teams, something of that nature. I also love Otter because you can create action items. You can say, Otter, create what are the action items from this call? I'll list them. I said list them in hopes that it does number like this, because sometimes we'll just create dashes. Now I can actually use this as a collaboration tool. I could say Samuel Clemens. I can now start talking with Samuel Clemens, who imagines one of my teammates. I could say, Samuel Clemens, can you please take care of action items, 3 and 6? And now you're actually talking with other people. And so really there's no right or wrong way to use Otter Chat. As Justin was saying, you can ask it to talk to you like a pirate. You can ask it to create a stand-up comedy bit for you, whatever you want. But it's really cool and it's very thorough. And you can always ask it to make iterations on whatever you did. So if it produces maybe an email that you didn't love, ask it, hey, Otter, can you try a different email, please? And it'll produce a different email from you. So, as Justin's saying, if you are rushing from one meeting to the other and you weren't really able to thoroughly take the notes on the call, then you can always ask Otter to generate these notes for you beforehand. And I know I am running out of time here, but if you ever, want to just put a snippet of a particular highlight into Salesforce, you can actually highlight specific parts of the transcript, and you can actually just create a snippet right here that you could then enter into a field of Salesforce. So imagine this is where they're talking about the budget or something like that. You could copy and paste this link into the budget field in Salesforce, and when the sales manager comes and clicks on it, it'll actually bring up just that particular snippet that you highlighted, and it will also include the audio of it as well. And you can share that on Slack. You can share that on an email as well. I know I can't get into it because I'm kind of out of time here, but we also have fantastic integrations with Slack. You can check out all of our integrations under apps right here. And you can we have a great integration with Slack, Salesforce, Zoom, and multiple calendar integrations. So you can integrate as many different calendars as you'd like to at once. But I know I want to stop there to make sure that we have plenty of time for questions. Hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of how powerful Otter can be on a daily basis.
Great. Thanks, John. It doesn't look like we have any questions in the Q&A. If you have a question, feel free to click on that tab on the right-hand side and ask a question, and we'll try to prompt that either for John, myself, or Justin. Anything as we're kind of closing out on time? I think we have another 4 minutes or so. Anything that the demo prompted you to think of, Justin, that you'd like to kind of add or follow on with based on what your team's doing and things that have been helpful?
Yeah, I think the summary auto-generated is great. That always gives us a starting point for kind of our deal description of what's happened with it. We're a Bant house here at Asset Panda, so we typically try to structure our conversations to where it's asking those questions, Otter's picking up those questions, and our SDR team or sales team is able to paste that directly into our CRM. We actually haven't explored the integration just yet. That's kind of a next step for us, but we only think that'll lead to more efficiency. So no, I think it was spot on, and I would encourage everyone to try it out if you're on the fence about it.
Awesome. I have a question here, John. Maybe you can help me out with this. It's from, it looks like Cody. Are there any issues with the transcription hearing words from the discussion incorrectly? So mistranscribing words. Do you want to talk about custom vocabulary real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me just go ahead and share my screen again. So, Otter, it's not going to be 100% perfect. And of course, we did include different ways that you can try to increase the accuracy of Otter. One really kind of fun tool is our custom vocabulary, which if you go to your top left-hand corner where your name and email is, and you click this little drop down, you'll see account settings right here. It'll drop you on this tab, the general tab right here. And if you can go into manage vocabulary. Manage vocabulary is where you'll be able to add any custom, industry lingo or company jargon that you want transcribed right off the bat, or acronyms as well. So you can enter words into the team vocabulary, which will be vocabulary that will, apply across all your licenses. Or if you're working on like a personal project, you can put it in personal vocabulary, where, you can add up to 800 words in here, and Otter will get a much more likely chance of transcribing that correctly off the bat if you enter the custom vocab. You can copy and paste words in bulk in here. You can enter them one at a time. The only little caveat is if you hit the return key, it won't add it. You do just have to physically click the add button. And the other thing you can do to increase the accuracy of your transcriptions is use the edit button. So this little edit button, once my transcript pulls up here, you'll see it. It's loading the transcript right here, kind of follows you as you scroll down. If you click this edit button right here, it will put a blue box around the transcript, and you can edit any words that were transcribed incorrectly. And this will help Otter learn in the future too. And again, if you can go ahead and upload as many old transcriptions or meetings as possible, that will help Otter learn your voice, your clients' voices, your colleagues' voices ahead of time, which will help create more accurate transcripts. Again, the more you use Otter, the more information gets on the voice prints of the people you're speaking with, the more accurate it's going to become over time.
Yeah, and I think The other comment to add, in case it's not immediately identifiable, is you can always replay the underlying audio. So if something looks amiss with the transcript, often what I do is just play the audio and listen to it. And then if I have time, I may correct it. If not, I may just leave it.
Yeah.
So we're in our final minutes. I know in the chat, I think Justin placed a link for how to get in touch with him at Asset Panda. We've got a request demo at the top of your screen there. We would love to talk with you if this sounds interesting and is something that you think your sales team would be interested in learning more about. Thank you for your time today. We really appreciate it. And Justin, most of all, thank you for your time. We really appreciate you sharing your experience and helping us with understanding what the journey that you guys went on to kind of find this tool and how you've incorporated it within your workflows.
Yeah, I'm extremely happy to do it. My wife's actually the real MVP. She's got the 2-month-old and the dogs right now, and it's been eerily quiet in our house. So yeah, no, excited, and thanks for Modern Sales Pros for setting this up, and we look forward to continuing to use the tool, and like we're learning new things about it every day. So yeah, thanks guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. And as Kurt mentioned, definitely request a demo, clicking at the top right-hand corner if you want to learn more about Otter AI. And thank you everyone for attending today's session. Thank you, Kurt, John, and Justin for your time. We will see you at the next Modern Sales Pros event. Bye, everyone.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for your time. Appreciate it.
Bye, everyone.